Today on Top Gear Rearview, Brady's entire family is sick, so I'm doing the intro. Hello and welcome to Top Gear Rearview. I'm Jeff, that's Brady. Tonight we're looking at Series 2, Episode 3 of the new Top Gear.
This episode aired on the 25th of May in 2003 with star in a reasonably priced car, David Hutchsole.
Tonight's segments are the new VW Toureg in place of its bigger brother, the Porsche Cayenne. A comparison, sort of, between the Lexus SC430 and the Hyundai Coupe. The country with the fastest supercar, again, sort of. The Perodua Kelisa. And finally, rounding out our segments, Brady's favorite car, the BMW Z8, this time in Alpina trim. You love it. You know you love it.
It's awful car. I don't know how it didn't make my list. Okay.
Well, we'll get to that. Let's
talk about SUVs, Jeff.
Yeah, buddy. We actually mentioned this one earlier with its crazy V10 diesel.
We did mention the V10 diesel, which is nuts. That's way too many cylinders for a diesel. It's a 5-liter V10 with 550 foot-pounds of torque. They don't give us a power rating, do they?
No, they do not. No. I gotta imagine it's probably in the 400 range. The V10 just does not make sense. I literally own a school bus and it has a straight 6.
It does not make sense. I mean, I assume it's a turbo diesel.
It is.
So with that, you don't have like an issue with air, and you need smaller cylinders, and so you just put more of them for more power.
I got nothing. I thought the weight was hilarious because they did mention that it was a third of a ton heavier, so like 660 pounds.
That's a ton to go from a 4.2 V8 to a 5.0. You're gaining 0.8 liters, and you're gaining 650 pounds. That's nuts.
Yeah, it's just bonkers. I know for a fact, like the 5.9 liter Cummins, I think that's about 1,000-pound engine, like 1,200 pounds, but like. That means the V8 was like 400 pounds, if that. So,
yeah, so
I don't know.
An aluminum block, like smaller.
Maybe. No. This one came with fun engine choices later in life, because those ones are kind of meh. But later in the
V10 diesel's a meh.
It's weird.
Yeah.
You could get this with a 6-liter W12.
Yeah, well, I mean, when they started putting out the Phaeton, they had all of them.
Yeah,
all these.
They're like, we made too many W12s. What can we put it in?
Why does anyone buying this bland Passat that we're charged $100,000 for? Let's put them
glued
in the
some
Touareg.
V6s together. I don't know what to do. Yeah, so this 50,000 pounds, Great British pounds, and which puts it 110 here. So that's that's luxury SUV category. They were shooting for the Cayenne. That's what they wanted to test, I know. And that is a very similar SUV, but I, basically probably tack on 20-30% of the cost.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar, I guess, in that same range, but this has got locking diffs, and this has bigger, beefier tires. The Porsche Cayenne comes with those, those thin profile tires, and I don't know if the Porsche has locking diffs. I can't imagine it did.
Yeah, maybe limited slip, but doubtfully locking.
I bet it probably also, for the same amount of incredulity, it had to have had a limited slip just because it's a Porsche.
Oh, yeah.
But $100,000 for something that looks like a Touareg, which is pretty bland. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the inside, it wasn't luxuried out. It didn't look like it. Like, it wasn't this svelte. It's in the same price range as a Range Rover. There is no reason on this world to buy this over a Range Rover.
Or a Land Cruiser. Yeah.
Who is this car for at $100,000? Looking now, I think they've come to their senses. I think the VW Toureg here in the United States starts at like $40,000.
Yeah, it's definitely way cheaper. I don't even know if it still exists.
It does. It does. 49.4. So it's 50.
Well, they have the Atlas now too. So
which
they got
is
like
a lot
3
bigger.
SUVs. Yeah. Okay.
The Atlas, hang on a second. The Atlas starts at 30,000 pounds. $30,000. The Touareg is still the most expensive by $20,000.
Whoa. It's just a lot of money. I'm sure it's a nice car. But
why wouldn't you buy a Volvo XC90?
I don't know. But he did mention all of them. He was like, if you need to take your kids, XC90. If you need to go out and about, Land Cruiser. And kind of, he did run through like everything they've looked at. So that was kind of interesting. But
yeah, and at the very end, he says, if you need something that does all of these things, what's wrong with a Range Rover? And I'm like, exactly. Why wouldn't you buy a Range Rover?
Bing bang next. Yeah, I watched this episode this morning with my daughters, and they were really funny because they were like, why is he dragging that tree? And I was like, I can't explain that. And then later they were like, where'd the tree go?
I can't explain that either. I don't know.
Yeah. This is TV. Keep watching.
Your father's not full of answers like you thought. Your reality has crashed.
I have to write more notes.
He commented that the V10 diesel made 19 miles per gallon, and he was like, ooh, that's not very good. But just last episode, he said that the 18 miles per gallon in the Rolls-Royce was good. Now, granted, Rolls-Royce is a huge engine, and probably... I guess here's a good question. What do you think weighs more, the Rolls-Royce Phantom or this Touareg?
Touareg. Not by that much, but I'm guessing Touareg.
You think the Touareg? Okay. Well, then why is 19 miles per gallon not impressive?
I think it's not bad.
I thought it was pretty good.
That's
for a 5-ton diesel in it, it's not that bad.
Yeah. He was not a fan of this car. He had a lot of bad things to say about it, which, fair enough.
I think they're all pretty well founded.
The luggage cover rattled, the oil warning light kept coming on, the stereo sounded like a 19th century gramophone, and this was the view from the rearview mirror. I could go on. So I shall. The gearbox works in geological time, the styling's iffy, the seat gave me backache, and look at this phone holder. That is an afterthought, isn't it? And then there's the price. £50,000. 50! £50,000 for this. I'd rather eat the money.
I think all of the things that came in this car would be pretty good if it was priced even less than it is now.
If it was £30,000, that makes sense.
Not even that. 30. I think this car current price for $50,000 is too much.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's maybe it's nice, but not that nice.
No, not that nice. Speaking of not that nice, Jeff. Segue into one of Jeff's top 5 worst cars.
I will say, like, I was semi-biased by this show because they go on in later series. They actually do one of their kind of specials, which is the worst car ever made, and it is this car, the SC430, which is a hunk of garbage.
It is. They really lay it to it in this segment as well. Like
they do.
They don't ease up. They say it's awful. No. Everything about it's awful. The engine's awful. The interior is awful. The way it looks is awful.
Yeah. Seeing Hammond kind of like just smushed into that back seat with his legs all splayed out, I thought that was just perfect. It was like, yeah, he's not a big man, and he is not even close to fitting.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when you get those cars, like the back seats are just for the insurance. It's a 4-seater. We slap a cushion down, put some seatbelts in there.
Yeah.
Reduce your
You
insurance.
got paraplegic friends?
Yeah.
Bring them along. But, yeah, it was the first convertible Lexus. You know that?
The first convertible Lexus?
Yeah.
I guess so. There's not many.
No.
Like, did they make one after this? Did they go, oh, this was a terrible idea?
God, I think they did. I'd have to look. I'm pretty sure they have. Yeah, but it's and that hardtop. I mean, they did a good enough job. Again, they ate all the trunk space, and that top takes 27 seconds to go down.
Ooh.
Which that just seems like it would take forever. I mean, I remember, and I've been watching Top Gear in the shop, and I saw one of the recent episodes where they're doing the race with the supercars in Spain, and they have to like put their tops down while they're driving. It's like, I was like, man, this would fit perfectly in this race.
I see 2 different Lexuses with a convertible, and this is one of them. The other one is the IS. Apparently, the IS was made a convertible as well.
Okay. Yeah,
and
I believe that came after.
I think still on sale.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that I noted is there was when Hammond was just shoehorned in that back seat, he had the tag that's genuine leather. And I know this because I've been buying belts recently. Genuine leather is actually a grade of leather, and it's the second worst grade of leather.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. I was like, I guess I don't know what they typically make, like what grade they make seats out of, but genuine seems crappy.
I mean, $50,000 car, it better be, what is it, fine?
There's top grain and full grain. Those are your top ones, basically. So yeah, I figured it'd be top grain leather, but I guess if you're gonna put a tag on it, I can't imagine buying a car that had a tag that says genuine leather. I just punch a salesman in the face.
Just tell me it's leather.
Yeah. Okay, I believe you. I'm gonna be like, really? Are you sure?
Hang on, let me look.
The tag says so, sir.
Oh my God, it says it on the tag. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. They compare this. Oh, sorry. I have one thing really to talk about is that when this car first came out, they offered it with run flat tires.
Mm-hmm.
And then they swapped it to regular tires.
Yep.
To presumably ease up the ride because run flats are notoriously hard, better grip, all sorts of stuff. Usually run flats, the reason you put them on a car is to not have a spare.
Yep.
Is that still the case?
It usually is. I'm guessing what they did, because what they've been doing more recently is you'll throw a can of like Fix-A-Flat and a little compressor in there and call it a day. Which is a total cheater way to go. But I mean, most people, like, I gotta imagine probably most buyers these days, if you told them to change a tire, couldn't do it.
Especially if they're buying a Lexus.
Yeah, if you're buying a Lexus and you're like, change the tire, they'd be like, no, thank you, sir. I'm going to call the butler. Maybe not butler, but they're going to call AAA.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm guessing that's what they went to.
Okay. Well, can of Fix-A-Flat, that'll do it. It'll be fine. Just get out there. Thanks for your money.
I feel like I bought a car recently that had that, but I can't remember which one. I bought too many cars.
School bus?
No, school bus definitely doesn't have a spare, though. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You're on your own.
Get the kids home.
Drive on the rim.
They got. Well,
same
I
price
guess
for
it's
this guy.
dualies in the back, right?
It is, yeah. So like that's the we're way off topic, but that's the if you carry one spare, you kind of have to carry three.
Yeah,
because you got your front wheel and then you got both rear wheels. So it's like which one's gonna go? Who knows? So,
they compared this to the Hyundai Coupe, which it was called over there. Here in the States, it was the Tiburon.
Second generation.
Yep, it came in. So the Lexus SC430 was 50,000 pounds. This came out at 18,500 pounds.
So you can buy 2.5 for the same price, almost 3, really.
Yeah, it came in. It has a 2.7 liter V6, giving you about 165 horsepower. They really like this one. So all the pain and anger and hurt they put on the Lexus, Hammond really liked this car. He said it was nippy, it was fast, it was quick, not even for 18,500 pounds. It was quick just outright, which is how they say it's just a fast car. They did comment that they took the styling of the Tiburon/Coupe after the Ferrari 456. I explicitly wrote down 456 ? And I went and looked it up, and it looks nothing like a 456. So I don't know where that came from.
And now I gotta look it up.
But that being said, I see a picture here of a 456 shooting brake that looks hilarious.
It's not that different. I mean, it's not the same car, but it's not that far off.
I mean, no, it's
fair enough.
It's pretty far off.
Wedge-ish.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just call.
They shaped it like a car, and this is also shaped like a car.
It's exactly what I was trying to say, but I couldn't get out. Exactly. It's like, look at this. It's got 4 wheels. So does a Bugatti Veyron.
Oh.
Yeah.
Styling
so yeah, I mean, essentially the end of this was buy a Hyundai and save your money because this SC430 is awful. One thing I thought of, or I commented, is that the Coupe is not a convertible, and that's essentially the only reason anyone would ever buy the SC430. It's because it's a Lexus and it's a convertible. And so I'm not sure this is a direct comparison. I think they probably should have compared it, as always, to a Miata, where it would have been just as obvious that it was a bad car.
Yeah.
Compared to the Miata. And the Miata...
no back seats in a Miata. I mean, Mercedes SLK. That's probably it.
There's no back seats in SC430 either.
Oh yeah, but there are. But in the eyes of Johnny Law, or whatever they call him in the UK, there are.
Yeah. What is the Johnny Law? Long arm of Johnny Law in the UK. Nigel Law?
I'm sure there is one. Yeah, I think the Mercedes is the only one that's like
so.
a legitimate one, but that one is just so much more. It's just a better car, and it's like it has a market, like it's a hairdresser's car. But
like a really good one that make a lot of money.
Yeah. I had a friend whose mom owned one of these, and I hated it from day one. She has since upgraded to a Boxster, which I'm not a like massive fan of the Boxster, but so much better.
Yeah. This mom has a style of car she likes, doesn't she? Well, don't buy a Hyundai.
Nope. She would not be seen dead in a Hyundai. So. All right, on to the news.
Yeah, I don't have anything written down from the news. Nothing really caught my eye. Do you have anything from there?
Yeah, they were talking about Porsches, and I'm a Porsche sucker, but I like this is. Yeah, the GT3, which is 72,000 pounds. It had just come out. This is the 996 generation. So these cars were famous for their. It was the first water cooled generation of the Porsche 911, and the intermediate shaft bearing was famous for murdering engines left and right. And there were two variants of the 911 996 gen that did not have that issue, which were the GT3 and the turbo. So they mentioned both of them, which the GT2 would have been the other one because the GT2 is the turbo with two-wheel drive instead of four-wheel drive. But basically all of this to say that Jeremy goes on a rant about like...
They're bored, aren't they?
Yes.
They've been making the same car for 13 years, and all they think to do is, well, call that one a GT3 and that one a GT2. I'll have a turbo, a GT2, I'll have a GT1, a 959, put the engine in the back. God, it must be fun going into a Porsche dealership and have a 911. It'd be like ordering breakfast in America. I just want eggs!
Stop messing around and give me a Porsche!
It seemed like the beginnings of his long-standing hatred for the 911. Which I can respect. There's a lot of variants that you're like, you're just making that name to make that name.
Porsche has always been very guilty of, I think they talk about it even further on, of just slotting cars into like price points and power points. So they'll have like a price point, say $100,000, 400 horsepower, and then $200,000, 500 horsepower. And all of a sudden they'll come out with a new car that's $150,000, 450 horsepower. And they're just dead in the middle, and it's all the same car. It's all the 911 Carrera. It's all 911, but it's just very slight tweaks, and they're like clockwork hitting these price point and power numbers. It's like this is half as expensive, half as much expensive. Well, it's also half as much on top of that power.
Yeah.
2 times.
They know what they're doing. They know their market. Man, there was a. Funny aside, they're again way in the future. The Porsche 918, the hypercar, basically the one of the options. Porsche's known for their opulent options. One of the options you could get with a 918 was an entire other car, being a 918 edition 911 Turbo S. Do you know what the uptake was in that option? How many people that bought a 918 bought that option?
I do not. I have. Why would I ever know that number? And
you should know this. Because you watch Top Gear, you've seen the episode. But uptake was 100%. Every single person took the second car.
Every single person.
How
much was the option?
It was probably 160 to 200 grand.
Well, I mean, the car itself was like $800,000.
Yeah, so it's not nothing.
If you got 800,
20 to 30%.
You probably have $1 million.
You got $1 million. One of these came across the block at Bring a Trailer last week. The bid went on, as they say. It did not hit reserve. I think it was at like 120, and it didn't hit reserve.
For the 918 edition of the 911 Turbo S?
Yeah. It's a pretty car. I mean, they have a cool...
This is all slotting right into Jeremy Clarkson's argument about the naming and features of Porsches.
Oh, I never said he was wrong. Yeah, I thought that was a funny little aside.
Yes, that's funny.
They also did mention the Carrera GT, which is finally... I think that may be coming later in the series. I got to take a quick look here. No, it doesn't look like it. At some point, they do have it, but...
Season 4.
Season 4? Okay, so we got a couple years still. That's a monster of a car. 5.7 liter V10, 612 horsepower, and 330 grand. Yeah, all big numbers.
Oh, it looks so good too.
Yeah. I wrote down Bristol too, and I don't quite remember why. I know they talked about him a little bit, and we're basically saying I think they're kind of starting to phone it in.
They made a supercar-ish car that's got, it can go 150, 160 miles an hour. But it was a car company that I'd never really heard of until they did the classic rally race many, many, many moons in the future. And Richard buys it at an auction because his grandfather worked making Bristols. That's the only ever time I remember hearing the word Bristol as a car manufacturer.
Fair enough.
But they made a quote unquote supercar style. It's probably around the realm of a souped up Corvette or something like that. And
okay.
that's about it. Then they just made fun of James, which is good. It's good news. It's good news when James is there. I'm liking his addition. Obviously, it works out for them in the future, but I like his addition so far. I also like his nice suits.
I'm patiently awaiting the first appearance of the Dacia Sandero.
Good news.
It's coming.
All right. Okay, and on to this episode's challenge.
Yeah, I would agree with that phrasing and tone.
I'm going to call it an arbitrary challenge.
Yeah.
So the challenge.
Onto this episode's NOS ad.
Which country makes the fastest supercar? I'm gonna go ahead and put a question mark at the end, but not because it's a question, but because really is what you're doing. And then I'm gonna put quotes around supercar.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm calling it the arbitrary challenge because they just kind of chose whatever. Let's go get a fast car from Japan. You know what? Let's not make it a GTR Skyline. Let's go get a fast car.
The NSX is fast, but it's not, yeah.
Let's go get a fast car from Germany. I guess the 911 Turbo S is probably pretty fast. Would that be the fastest car from Germany?
No, but that would have beat it, but that's a different story.
What?
That would have been like a fast car from Germany. It probably would have been up there. Maybe the GT2 or something, but yeah, looking at like the 0 to 60 time and the quarter mile time, based on what they actually had in the Jag, the 911 Turbo still won. It would have. Somebody was short shifting or something.
Somebody was sandbagging. Oh, that makes sense.
Somebody was sandbagging about a second and a half.
So from Germany, they brought a 911 Turbo, not the Turbo S, just the Turbo.
Mm-hmm.
From Japan, they brought the Honda NSX.
Not the Type R.
Not the Type R. So it's not the fastest NSX, just a NSX. Not the fastest 911 Turbo, just a 911 Turbo.
Yep.
From the USA, they brought a bog standard C5 Corvette.
Not the Z06.
Nope, not the fast one. From France, they brought a
gobbledygook.
They brought a Venturi Atlantique.
Yep, that's I think what I wrote down.
From Italy, they brought some random Ferrari that's not the fastest Ferrari that they make.
360 Modena, that's not the Enzo.
And then from the UK, they brought their stripped down Jaguar.
Oh, when did they jump this thing off a boat? It's not that far in the future.
I'm sure it's pretty soon. This is the Jag that they stripped down in season 1, episode 9, where they proved to us the hard to prove fact that lighter cars are faster, Jeff.
I know.
Yeah.
Who'da thunk?
Who'da thunk? So, obviously, this is a hodgepodge of cars. Not the fast cars, just some cars.
The fast cars, not the fastest cars.
So they do a big drag race. A big, I guess maybe a quarter mile. I don't know how long their drag races usually are.
6 wide quarter mile, yeah.
6 wide quarter mile. I didn't look through the video footage, but after the first, they do this again later on, spoiler alert. I guess we'll just talk about it right after this. They did a race where the 911 Turbo was first, then the Ferrari, then the NSX, the Corvette, and the Venturi Atlantique were somewhere tied around there in fourth. And then, obviously, way behind was a crappy old Jag. Who would have thought?
Yeah, surprisingly enough.
So that's it. That was the race. I don't even know if they said we'll be back to that. They might have. No,
I think they did.
They might have, yeah. Later on in the episode, Jeremy's sewing some pants, which I think I'm just going to leave it at that. And they go back to this race, but with what Jeff called the NOS advertisement implied. They install a NOS system into this stripped down crappy old Jag.
I believe they brought it up to a total of 500 horsepower. So I want to say that's probably about a 280 shot.
We got 175, so we're giving you a 325. It'll be good.
Yeah.
So they installed a NOS system. They did a slight explanation of what NOS does, where you're putting in nitric oxide and fuel and just jamming air to fuel ratio into these things, which is why NOS oftentimes blows up ahead, because you're just slamming in way more fuel than it ever would be able to intake on its own.
Danger to the manifold.
And that's why you can get triple the horsepower out of it. But they do another drag race between all 5 cars, and oh my god, the British car wins, Jeff, after slamming in 300 horsepower worth of NOS. But that's the challenge. It wasn't a very good one today.
They are liars. It should have come like third, which that would have been fair, because that Porsche, it did a 13-second quarter, the Jaguar. The Porsche is rated for an 11.9.
Oh, wow. Someone was really sandbagging it.
Someone was sandbagging.
Yeah.
So, yep. I literally wrote down nothing for that, so it was pretty forgettable.
Wasn't great at all. Let's move swiftly on then, Jeff. Let's talk about today's star in a reasonably priced car, Mr. Hutch himself from Starsky and Hutch, like the original one, not the Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller one. David Soul. I mean, I guess I don't know what he was doing at this time that prompted him to be out there plugging for something, because oftentimes when you see a celebrity out there, they got a new book coming out or something like that.
Yeah,
it's not usually that way with Top Gear, but he was so out of left field. Like, why the hell was he here? Like,
looking at his filmography, I have no idea.
He was just doing nothing. He liked the car show, I suppose, and he came over and he did it. I don't know. They're looking for guests. I mean, Jamie Oliver was like a big guy back in 2003. He was doing all sorts of shows and stuff. So I'm not sure, but
now one thing I will say is he became a British citizen in 2004. He was an American citizen born in Chicago. So I think maybe he was just like shopping for a house, and he was like, "Oh, I'll go by."
He's just hanging out. Hey, you guys looking for? I need this work visa. It says I need to do something. So
can I do a lap?
Cool, that's interesting. I didn't know he became. There are a number of American people who are much bigger in the UK than they are in America. So maybe he's just kind of just a little bit more of a personality over there in the UK. Is he like a British significant other or something like that?
I don't know, man. He I guess it looks like he lived there in the 90s, and maybe did some he had some political leanings for a bit there, but yeah, I don't know. He seems like I think he just kind of was thinking, we'll go ahead and hang out here for a while.
All right.
He was the first American to have appeared as the star in a reasonably priced car.
Yes, he was. I guess he was a bit of a disappointment, but the Stig said that he was very fast. But we're skipping over, Jeff, the best part of this interview.
What the hell was he talking about?
So apparently he was in a peyote-fueled sex craze. He went and bought a Corvette.
Yeah.
And he and his at the time lady friend got butt naked. In this Corvette, driving 140, 150 across the Mojave Desert, big straight road, and then some other stuff happened that he glossed over. But that's how he said that he was talking about how he fulfilled a dream, and apparently that was a dream to drive naked across the Mojave. I guess I've
never had that dream.
I guess after you do it, you go, yeah, that's something I've always wanted to do.
Cool.
I don't know about that.
A lot of peyote. Yeah, he's been married 5 times.
He's been married 5 times, so
dude goes to the ladies.
Karen Carlson or Patty Carnell Sherman, one of those two.
One of them, yeah. Yeah, I wrote that down. It was like the interview itself was a little flat. They're still kind of getting into their groove of things there, but yeah, weird segment. They emphasized that the Stig said he had a chance of beating JK and he was a good driver. And watching him slam shift, I was like, no, no,
no, hard no. So he broke both reasonably priced cars.
Yeah.
He ran a 154 in the dry with a broken car. Like, he coasted through the last corner and a half.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did he break these cars because he was shifting without like using the clutch? Was he just jamming it? Second,
he was he's trying to rev match, and he was like, clutch pedals for weak people. I don't know, but man, watching him do it, I was like, oh, those synchros, like I can hear them dying.
The amount of effort he was putting into it too. Well, they literally did die.
Yeah, they died a hard death.
The amount of effort, like you could see it, like his face, he was like grimacing, he was grunting. How do these British people shift like this?
Yeah, I don't know. If he had skill, I didn't see it.
That being said, he had a broken car. He still did a 154.
It's not a slow lap. I mean, he broke it like in the last couple turns, but God, yeah, they just kept showing the shifting, and I could not get over it. I was like, you are shifting like a monkey,
like a dumb monkey. All right.
154, kind of middle of the pack. No gold star for you, Mr. Soul.
No, the Stig was disappointed. Stig apparently big fan of Hutch.
Enough so to let him run the track in the car afterwards.
Let's talk about the Perodua Kelisa.
The Perodua Kelisa, the core of my homeland.
The Perodua Kelisa. Perodua is the largest manufacturer from Malaysia, I believe.
Second, thank you, Proton.
Okay.
Come on, dude.
Sorry. I'm not up to speed on the car market of Malaysia.
You got to pay attention to your international trades and whatnot.
Perodua founded in 1993, so not a huge motoring history.
No, they are still in existence though, and they are largely Daihatsu rebadger basically, but have been. I think they have 2 out right now that are their own marks, their own brands. Their first sedan, because they love the hatchbacks, which makes sense. I love the hatchbacks, and it is my country. But yeah, not a lot more to say. It's kind of a cheap car, the cheapest new car in Britain at the time, and 150 kilograms lighter than a Ford Ka, which is bonkers.
Because Ford cars are super small. This car is so small. It's a perfect car for James May to drive around. I wrote down, this is a James May type of car. He likes the skinny little tires. He likes the super light, slightly wobbly body to make you feel like you're on the edge when you're just going around a normal roundabout, because you actually are.
Yeah, you're about to roll them over.
You're hanging on for dear life, turning left at an intersection, you know. So this is a perfect James May car. It gives him, I'm sure if it was later in the series, he would say it gave him the fizz. But he commented,
I'll probably get a bag of letters for saying this, but this is the nearest thing I've driven to the original Mini.
Which, okay, it kind of looks like a Mini. Like,
it really does.
Like even the body looks like a Mini. So I would agree with him on that one.
Yeah. I did like too that he got the upmarket one, the GX, which was a whopping 800 pounds over the base price of 5,000 pounds.
Well, I mean, what did he get for that? He got like 2-tone interior and
electric windows
for 800 pounds.
There's got to be something else.
I'm
sure you got like better stereo.
It was
I
like
the
17%.
Yeah. You got to guess at the curb weight of this thing?
Oh, the curb weight. Do you have it in kilograms or do you have it in pounds?
I got it in both.
Okay.
Your dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice. I want to do pounds. I'm gonna say sub 2,000.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say like 1,600 pounds.
1,700.
Oh, that's close.
Yeah. No, it's it's 771 to 806 kilograms depending on options, which that's the Ford Ka is 820 to 962. So they kind of, fudge the numbers a bit, but there's definitely, if you choose the right side of those ranges, you got 150 in difference.
That's a big difference because the Ford Ka is like nothing.
It's so little. You could as I think you mentioned, you could step over it. You could throw the thing through a house if you felt hulkish. I did look up some of the other Perodua offerings. They had some kind of cool ones. They had one called the Rusa that was like a little van. It looked like sort of like the early 90s Toyota and Mitsubishi four-wheel drive diesel vans.
Yeah.
They were awesome. And then they had one called the Kambara, which was an SUV that sort of looked like a Suzuki Grand Vitara, but cooler. And I can get behind this little company. I like them.
They have a lot of K names. One of their cars is called the Cancel. That's a good name.
You almost made me spit water on my computer.
I mean, I don't know how else you pronounce that. It's canceled. Kancil. I mean,
yeah,
sure
it was this. It was the predecessor to the Kelisa.
Yeah. Cancel. All right.
It's like they don't allow people to cancel their orders. They're like, you want a Perodua? Cancel. Okay, we'll get you one.
No, cancel. Yeah, that's what we're giving you.
Done.
Right.
4 doors, seats, etc.
All right, so we had Jeff's hated car, the SC430. Now it's time for mine, and I don't know how this slipped through the cracks in my top 5
I know.
list
You
cars.
hate this car so much.
The Z8. I hate it
so much.
It's awful. It's just awful. It is aptly pointed out in this episode that is like a garbage truck to drive. which is not what you want someone saying about your BMW Z8. Because
no, especially because the base price on a Z8 is 80,000 pounds.
80,000 pounds.
That's 175 grand today.
You kidding me?
So much money.
Oh, I hate this.
That's like you get like a McLaren for that. I feel.
Oh my god, it's bad. Yeah. It's a bad car.
That's 911 Turbo S money, basically. That's where that is.
Yes, way more capable car. Clarkson comments that it doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be like a 2-seater top-down sports car, because it looks like that, but it doesn't really do that. It doesn't know if it wants to be a muscle car, which is like a big old engine, fast and straight line car, because it doesn't really do that. And it doesn't know if it wants to be a big, luxury kind of Riviera cruiser, because it doesn't do that very well. It doesn't. It kind of has pieces of all of those things, shape and engine and stuff like that. But it's bad at all of them. Bad suspension. That's the original Z8. The Clarkson's talking about the original. What they actually tested was the Alpina Z8, which is kind of a Brabus sort of tuning house for BMW.
Yeah, Alpina is largely they're the tuning house, as you said, for BMW. I mean, and their typical focus is just more everything, faster, better, stronger, etc.
Yeah, just take a relatively good BMW and just put way more power, and, better drivetrain and all that sort of stuff. So of course, what they did with this one was take the 5-liter engine to a 4.8, take the 6-speed automatic to the 6-speed manual to a 5-speed automatic. Like, you're going through all these things. It's like, what the hell are they doing to this thing? And it's just Alpina trying to salvage something out of this dumpster fire that is a car that BMW has given them.
Yeah, it is interesting to see, knowing Alpina's history, you'd be like, oh, you went the other direction here, but I respect that. They only made 555 of these. Do you know how many went to the UK?
1?
8.
8? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 450 came to the US.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, most of them came here. So they usually went directly through a BMW dealership.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I could see that. They've got an agreement with them, something like that.
Yeah. Interesting thing about this car too, the exterior lights on these are neon.
Neon lights?
Yeah, I thought that was super interesting.
Is it just the Z8 or is it the only?
It's just the Z8. So it's the Z8 including the Alpina.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, all that de-kitting, they did also redo the interior, make it a little nicer and put better wheels and tires on it. But that adds 15,000 pounds. That takes it to 95,000 pounds.
That's so expensive, man.
So much money. It's like 200 grand.
Oh my God, it's such a bad car. They did take this around the track. Is this the power lap?
This is. And astonishingly, this was a pretty fast car.
Somehow.
Yeah, the Stig did what the Stig does put down a number.
The Stig can put it around the track.
Yes, he can.
He got a 129 out of it, which is astonishing.
Stonking fast.
It's astonishing for such a car, such a hated car. I mean, even by Clarkson himself. Maybe he was just trying to impress Hutch, I suppose is what they said. Maybe it's actually true. Be. All right, so he did a 129.
So 89 seconds.
Flat, I believe.
Yep.
The car costs. We're gonna go with the low range. Will be
No. This is the Alpinas. This is 95,000 pounds.
brutal.
Yeah. This is gonna be low.
This is gonna be so low.
I mean, it's fast.
This
but
might
it's
be
not.
Bentley Arnage T level with my rating on it. All right, Jeff. Yeah, how do you feel about the BMW Z8?
I mean, I don't hate it as much as you do. I don't like it, but at the same time, like, it's one of those. Yeah, there's never gonna be an opportunity for me to own one and want to own one, but I'd give it a 3.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm giving it a 1.
Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be low.
Lowest possible score for me. I don't think I allow 0. No zeros. You can have to get 1 to 10. So yes, that gives it a 94 overall score. Its speed does help it, but it is expensive.
Yeah.
That puts it 20th out of 23. The cars that are worse than it are the Bowler Wildcat, because it's so slow.
Yeah.
And expensive.
Yeah.
The Bentley Arnage T.
Because Bentley.
Because all of the things, even more expensive and even slower. And then the Suzuki Liana, which is on our board because the stick gets put around the track and they've given us a price.
All right.
So, yeah, 20th out of 23.
That makes sense.
Just behind the Ferrari 575 Maranello. Man, we really hit that Maranello pretty hard.
Yeah, that one got a beating.
Well, on that, as Jeremy calls it, cardboard bombshell of this just stinker around the lap, that does it for today's episode, and it does it for us on Top Gear Rearview. We appreciate you listening very much. If you enjoyed it, think about hitting that subscribe button and maybe tell a friend about it, someone else who enjoys a little bit of motoring, a little bit of petrolheadness. We would appreciate that.
For sure. And we are still taking, if you've got them, your top 5 worst car lists, as well as your best and worst headlights. You can post those up on our Facebook page at facebook.com/topgearrearview, or you can email them to us directly at topgearrearview@gmail.com.
I probably need to amend my list and make this. I don't know how it slipped through the cracks.
No amendments allowed. No amendments allowed.
I don't know if I dislike this more than some of those cars, though.
I know, this would be like number 1. You gave it a 1. That's hardcore.
Yeah, I'd give the Ford Pinto or the H2 a 1 as well.
Well, you'll be happy to know the H2 is coming. That's in episode 7 of Series 2.
Do they put it around the track?
God, I hope so.
All right.
I don't think so without rolling. So.
Okay. Well, then on that note, that'll do it for us today.